Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Strings. And we are today talking to a very interesting person, John. Welcome, John. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very good.
John is the founder, I guess. Is that right, John? The founder of Dropstrap, which is a very cool gadget, which we'll get into later on. I don't know if gadget is a very good way of putting it.
I think people are using it regarding to the job, so I'm cool with
it. Well, yeah, accessory. Let's put it this way, accessory. A very cool accessory, which I shall show people immediately before we start talking, which attaches essentially to your normal guitar strap, and it fixes at the back, and it has a very cool function. I don't know if people can see it, but essentially it allows you to play at different lengths and adjust your guitar at different lengths like this. Very solid, very reliable. We will talk more in detail in a little bit. So, John, thank you so much for coming. I guess my first question would be, how did you, what's your background? How did you start in the kind of guitar accessories market, guitar world, and subsequent to that, the most important thing is, how the hell did you come up with such a great idea? Because that for me is mind-boggling.
Okay. Well, first I started to play guitar at the age of 15, 14, something like that, just because I was transfixed to Nirvana's Nevermind. And one day I decided I'm going to learn the entire album. I don't know how to play guitar, but I'm going to learn the entire album. So I find my way into that, and I learned all the lyrics and all the chords and everything else, and I know to play the entire Nevermind album. And from there, it just escalated. I decided I'm going to be a guitar player. And 2 years later, friends of mine who had a very cool metal band, thrash metal band, needed a bass player. So, so a hand went up, and I took my friend's bass guitar, and I joined the band.
Excellent.
And I've been playing the bass mostly since. Okay.
Oh, really?
25 years, I'm mostly playing bass. So after a few years, the band fell apart, and I joined another band. And we decided to do a 4-hour cover show for Tool and A Perfect Circle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was like an hour and a half of Perfect Circle to begin with, and then 2 hours or so of Tool. And during the practice, we realized that I had so many different bass rolls in this show, and I couldn't find the right height for my bass. First of all, I have pretty small hands, and I play the six-string Ibanez bass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was very challenging. And and a small light bulb went on, but we didn't do anything with it. We went on live, and I moved on with my life. I played a lot of band sense, and my day job, I got into sport industry, into the bicycle industry and the triathlon industry, and I learned a lot about business and product and pricing and manufacturing and a lot of other aspects of that. And one day we had coffee, me and a friend from that band, and we thought, hey, that idea is still with us. There's still no other brand that's touching this subject. And we decided we were going to do it. And then we were going out into a new episode in your life that you have no idea how to handle, and you need to learn 100% of the topics, about manufacturing in China, about taxes, about making the product, 3D printings and everything. And we had like 2 years of development and patenting the function and all that. And then we decided, okay, we need to go out into the market. We were ready, but we didn't have any money left because up until now, we invested everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And we went to the Shark Tank program in Israel.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, that's fascinating.
And we got a shark to back us up.
Wow.
And then after like 3 months of lawyering and all the process that's behind getting a shark, we went into manufacturing and into the market. And of course, 1 week later, coronavirus went out. So as we're introducing a new product that's going to change your life on stage,
exactly.
Every stage in the world got.
There's no stage left.
Exactly. So it was pretty challenging first year. We had a lot of people from both sides. Half of the people on social told us this is a product that's searching for a problem because there's no problem that this is solving for them. Yeah, we knew it's gonna get that reaction just because if you're a guitar player that plays at home or playing sitting down most of the time, or even if you're playing on stage but you're playing music that like Nirvana for example, who has like 3 chords and that's it, no solos, no technical parts. You don't need that problem. This product, and I can understand that. This is a product talking to the guys that are having a lot of different fretting techniques, a lot of different parts of the song, and a lot of solos and technical parts, and they need that extra edge to get the guitar in the perfect height.
Of course, and I totally, I made a funny face when you said that, some of the reactions were that they, it was maybe searching for a problem. But I think the way I read it, this accessory essentially came from a real problem that you had. So it's not, in a specific condition. You didn't just make it up.
Not every guitar player experience this problem, and I can understand that. I don't think
of course
everybody.
And I guess it also depends, sorry to interrupt, I just thought now, I guess it also depends on, if you change guitars a lot, because some of them hang differently. You don't necessarily have the same position in playing different instruments.
Body size, body shapes,
Exactly, that's interesting,
so,
very...
But I had like an epiphany, because a few musicians told me the right words. They gave me that feedback that this is something that they were looking for the longest time, and they never found the right height for the guitar for everything. And there isn't a right height for the guitar for every part that you play. I'm a believer, so I went on with it, even though it seems, every time you hear something bad about your product, you think, okay, maybe I was wrong for a minute. And then you come back as, okay, I think I got something there. And then I think after about 6 or 7 months, I sent through Instagram messages to every cool guitar player that I can think of. If they're super known or nobodies or they're just playing for themselves, I don't care. I want to know everybody and I want to show this product to everybody. And I was super surprised to get a feedback from Phil X from Bon Jovi.
Wow, of course.
He told me, "Wow, this is really cool. I want to buy one." And I don't know. Okay, let me send you one. I want you to really try it.
Exactly.
Give it hell. Help me find a way to make this product as durable as it can be. And he tried it, and he was amazed. And we made, using our friend at Fretlux, we made him his logo on the drum.
Fantastic. Yes.
And then one day I got an order on our website without anybody's talking to me before it for 8 units
Yeah.
for Richard Fortus, and I know the name. And I'm thinking,
Oh my God.
it couldn't be that Richard Fortus. So I was
Different one.
yeah, and I was talking to Felix, and I told him, could it? And he said, yeah, I showed it to him, and he was
Oh,
amazing.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
And
That
it
is
was so cool, and I felt like, okay, this is the thing. And of course, I talked to Richard, and he's the super cool guy, super helpful, super positive, and he told me, okay, I'll try it during the Guns N' Roses tour.
Yeah.
And he tried it, and of course he's a monster on stage. He jumps and he with the guitars, and he's done everything, and he actually managed to break a few.
Really? Oh, that's wow.
And I was partly super afraid because oh my God, and partly I realized that this super cool guy can help me make this product much better. And using his and Felix,
Sorry to interrupt. So the ones that he managed to break, are they the same version as the ones that we can currently buy, or did you?
No.
Ah, okay.
We made so many changes, and we're still doing a lot of changes to the product, mainly to the inner mechanism, because I'm in love with the design, the outer design. And so all the changes I'm doing right now are internal, and we managed to change the assembly line. We changed the materials that we use. We changed a few of the inner designs. Every time him and Felix gave us a few feedbacks, and he told us like, this didn't work, here it failed, here it looks right, it's not in the right space, and a lot of others.
Yeah.
And right now, I feel like we managed to get into the most durable product and the most efficient product, because it's working much faster right now, and it's smoother right now, and it handles those huge monsters on stage for every night.
And I think it is funny because both Phil X and Richard Fortus. I mean, Richard Fortus. If anyone goes on, YouTube, whatever, and looks at the way he plays guitar, I think it's exactly. Let me just show people. I've got it here. So I think it's exactly the point that you're making. So when he's got such great style and technique, right? So he's playing those kind of chords, rock and roll. And he's got his guitar way low like that, right? He looks super cool, and that's the way to do it. And then what you'll notice is even in the earlier videos, and I think his bandmate Slash always does that, is they kind of either put a leg up or they kind of rest it on their leg in order to go down and do the solos. So for him, I think the fact that he can just, pull this up and like that and just do that at a different height is ideal, because he's exactly the kind of player that would have that problem, because not only is he just doing the kind of cowboy chords up here in a very rock and roll style, but he's also doing stuff here and has the lead lines and even more complex rhythm lines.
Exactly.
When
he's
you're
very
playing,
technical, and he's very smooth, and this new feature is, I think, bringing him a step further into performance at a very high level.
Exactly, and I guess for him it's really cool because it also allows him to kind of move around the stage even more and be, it's I guess when you're at that top level, it's not just about the playing, it's also about the stage presence. It's not something that I would be doing all these tricks with my guitar because I'm no one, but for him I think he has to have a presence on stage, and I guess this really gives him that freedom to do that and not worry about, you know, his positioning and stuff like that. So it's, and, you know, Phil X, same thing. He's maybe even wilder. He's like so energetic, right? He does like these crazy things, and for him as well. Yeah. So it's
then I started to think about the types of musicians that I see online. Okay, so you have the guys like Richard and Phil X that are super energetic and super cool, and they wouldn't hold the guitar here just to be able to play. They will fight anything to keep it down.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, you got all the gent movement.
Yeah.
With the headless guitars with 8 and 9 strings, who plays the guitar here. You know, they hold it super high. And I started to talking to a lot of musicians like that, and they say, you know, it's killing my shoulder and my wrist to play this high, but I can't do anything else. You know, most of the music is very, very technical. So we got a lot of musicians like that using the drop to get the guitar down for a few minutes when the part is not that technical, just to rest their body during the show. To give it a bit of rest.
Yeah, so, no, and I think that's exactly the right. And now that you're mentioning it, I'm also thinking about, you know, going back to your story, bassists as well in those kind of genres of music as well. They have a very similar problem because, you know, some of the parts aren't just doing a bass line up here. Some of the bass lines in those, you know, those kind of you know, gent songs and those even, you know, hyper technical, you know, sort of metal stuff is all over. And
it's on the bass. Different fretting techniques. You're using a pick, you're using fingers, you're using slaps, whatever you need. You know, you can position the guitar at the height whenever you need it. So
I think
to create.
I think the coolest thing I've ever heard is having Phil X and Richard Fortus as your product testers. that for me is already, you know, if it's good enough for them.
I'm saying thank you every day, I think, for this opportunity. It's insane. And we did an interview, the Guns N' Roses tour, been here to Israel like a month and a half ago.
Yes.
And Richard was so cool to get us on stage before the show, to do an interview and show everything. And I sat with his technician like for 20 minutes to get a lot of feedbacks and all the needs and whatever they need. And it's amazing to see such a celebrity talk to you at eye level.
Yeah, I mean, your mind was exploding, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's very, very, very cool. I mean, another thing that that kind of, I guess, comes naturally from this is, so you were going through this process of working on the Dropstrap and kind of making it better every time, or, you know, fixing some potential issues that players would find. So how difficult and what were the kind of real challenges that you found? Was it getting the right materials? Was it more like mechanical, almost engineering stuff? You know, or was it the actual manufacturing process? Did you have to search?
I think in reality, it's always all of those aspects together. You know, because when you're changing materials, there's a lot of aspect to that, which affects the assembly line, which affect the look of the product. It's always a combination of it all. And you know, and managing everything from afar. I mean, you're sending 3D files to China, to the factory, and they give you feedback, and you need to see that everything is coordinated and everybody understands everything. It's a lot of challenges, but it's amazing and it's super fun to do. You know, it's like having a baby. It's creating something and handling it and making it better and giving it a lot of love during the process. You know, it's never ending work.
Yes. No, totally, totally. And I think that that's also really interesting. Specifically, we were talking slightly. Sorry, I want to show people. So we were talking before we got in the air. We were talking specifically about the wire here, and I think for a lot of people, it's really surprising once you get it how thin it is and how
I think it starts before you get it. I think
really,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm emphasizing this string on every videos we make.
yeah,
Just because I don't want you to get a product, to buy it, to get it home and then be surprised. I want you
of
to
course,
know that this is the string that you're going to hang your guitar on.
yeah,
That's why we're talking a lot about the weight that it can hold. It can hold like 100 kilograms, which is like 30 guitars or so.
yes,
We wanted to make it. We know it's a psychological bird. We
yeah,
know
no, of
it's
course,
surprising and it's a bit scary sometimes, but it's super durable and super flexible. And I told you before, the reason we took this thin string was because the first model we wanted to do was the strap itself should go in and out the mechanism to look
yeah,
different, work different. But then we realized that when you're playing at a high volume with distortion, you can hear the strap getting into the mechanism. You can hear the movement. And
yeah,
then we
yeah,
went out to search for different materials. And this material is very strong, very
mm,
sleek, and very flexible, which gives us a very a fast reaction for the product. When you want
of
to take the
course,
guitar up or down, you can do it
yeah,
very, very fast and very precise, and you can't hear it in the speakers.
yes.
So it had a technical reason to choose this product and to choose this kind of material, but I think it's the best of all worlds because it's
Yeah, yeah,
super
because there's a
durable.
practical side as
Yeah,
well. Yes, that you
yeah.
can't hear. No, absolutely. I mean, I was, as you said, I, knew about the product. I knew about the string, but I was still very when I, got it and I put it on. I was still surprised because it's very like smooth as well, and the way it comes back is
Mhm.
really natural. So you don't, one of my initial thoughts was I'm like not very good at multitasking, even with pedals on the floor, jumping on different pedals, doing different things. Would I be able to just
To
before a
like this.
solo press a button here? Because I'm very simple, but actually it becomes quite natural, because in the same way that you would pull your guitar up, it's just a question of
The same effort and the
pressing
same
it,
time.
it comes up, and so it's a very natural movement. And that for me was probably one of my biggest surprises when I started using it, was how natural it was, and I didn't actually have to think about, let me press this and let's hope that it goes back up, and everything is quite seamless. And I think
Yeah.
that goes back to the part
You, you
that
just
you were
reminded
saying about.
me. You just reminded me one musician at the very first
Yeah,
unit that we sold. One musician sent me a message over Instagram and told me, "I just got the product. It's very nice, but I must say the size of the button is way too large. I wish it would be very small." And like 2 or 3 days later, he sent. I didn't react to that. I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
talk to him a few days later. And before I managed to talk to him, he sent me another message, and he told me, "Okay, I got it. It's the
Exactly.
perfect size for your hand to reach it without
Exactly.
messing it up."
Which is this, yeah. So you see, this is exactly, and I think it may, people may not think about it immediately, but I am sure that John studied this quite a bit to get it exactly the right size for your hand when you're pushing it and having the mechanism, because
With
it does look,
exactly, yeah.
yeah, it does look quite big when you look at it, but
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
yeah, play it, and then I think you'll soon realize why.
The mission that I wanted to design was when you are with a pick between your fingers, you have
Yes.
only three fingers and the palm to press it. And I want this cavity here to be the exact size you need.
No,
So,
exactly. Yeah, no, you can tell that it's been studied for a reason, and yeah, it's I must say it works very, very well, and that is really, you know, a testament, I think, to kind of the planning and the, you know, you mentioned, you know, 2 years essentially going into the studying of the product, and I mean, did you you told us about a bit about your kind of background and stuff like that. But did you have to, I guess, learn a lot of these skills that you've developed now and that eventually went into the product? Was that, you know, self-learning? Did you have to go through a journey?
I think the biggest skill I can say I have right now is the ability to find the right people to learn from. You know, when I needed to design a product, I realized I have no idea how it's handled and what's the process. So I contacted an old friend of mine who's right now living in the Netherlands, and he's a product designer in different markets, but a product designer. And I contacted a 3D mechanical engineer.
Wow! Yes.
And through those 2 years, I think we made like 1 million Zoom meetings, you know, during the entire night, and everybody gave me their feedbacks, and we managed to make it a whole, you know.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's in. Sorry, I was going to say I think that's incredibly inspiring, and I think that's something that for me is an incredible thing to witness. Is, you know, when even if you have, I guess, no idea where to start, but reaching out, I guess, making the effort, trying to find the solution, whether it's yourself or with other people. I think that's, you know, really great advice, and I definitely would recommend that people kind of don't, you know, give up on the initial challenge, because, you know, if I were to build this where I'm coming from, I would have no idea where to start. So, you know, for me, it's like completely out of this world, and it's very, very impressive and inspiring for me to listen to someone like you doing the hard work essentially to learn all these things, because, you know, you were a musician, I guess. and you know, it's very, very interesting how you had to go through a journey yourself to get it done, essentially. Yeah. And also, I guess, sorry, I guess also the business, setting up a business as well. I don't know if you were familiar with that.
No aspect of this process that I had an idea what I'm coming into, really. Well, I had a broad idea, but reality is a totally different story.
Yes.
You know, I think the best way to describe this process is a roller coaster. You know, you're 1 week you're thinking, okay, I get everything, I know everything, I'm on that way, and then you realize everything you thought was right is not the right way, and you need to adjust your way of thinking. And, you know, there was a few points, a few situations that I wanted to go in one way, and the product designer told me that's not the way to go.
Ah, interesting.
Design-wise, it wasn't the right way to go, because I wanted to do something. I don't remember a specific situation, but no, I wanted to go for a different color or a different shape or a different something. And he told me, you know, I know you think you're right, but let me explain why you're wrong. And it got to a point that, you know, right now when he says something design-wise, I'm not questioning his his way of thinking anymore, because he got my trust and he showed me how deep he thinks about every point that he's making. It's not something that I wanted to look that way. There's a lot of depth behind it, and he totally bought my confidence.
Exactly. So I guess another point here is, trusting the people that you work with and building that relationship, I guess, where everyone is ultimately for the best product. Yeah. And I guess ultimately the customer in mind. I guess, ultimately it comes down to that, because if your product doesn't have the end customer in mind, it's not, going to be successful for you. So I think that's a wonderful thing to hear about. And I was just thinking, when going back to the kind of Phil X thing, maybe one thing to mention is it correct that then maybe can you request for special decals to be put on it? Is that like a...
But we played a lot with different musicians who wanted to.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I can see that. Very cool.
We made this when Eddie.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. We never sold one of those, but we did a Summers.
Wow. Yeah, very nice.
We're still playing along with it. Right now we have the option on our website to do a custom print.
Yes.
Which anybody who has a logo or a band logo or whatever they want us to print on it, this option is online. We are playing around with different colors for the button.
Yes.
Because you can. I'm not sure if you realize, but we're not talking about it yet. But when you have the product in your hand, if you're twisting the button a few times, you can take it apart.
Oh, I did not realize. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay.
And we did this option just to think maybe in the long run we want to do different colors, or you can buy different buttons and different designs or whatever. Right now it's still not an option, but we are thinking about it.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, because essentially you wouldn't change the actual mechanism, you just change the cover, right? So it's that's really, really cool. That is a very, very good idea. And I think that also, I love the idea of people being able to personalize it, put their logo. I think it's a fantastic idea. I mean, it's definitely one that I will do, because I really like, it's kind of making something your own again, and it's putting your own touch to it, and it's really nice that that it's being specifically made for you. And if you have a certain desire for a certain color, then it fits really nicely that you'd be able to change it. And I guess that's the beauty of a company like yours, is that the future, and this goes, one of my biggest questions for you is kind of the future holds, I think, a lot of different things that can come out, different, avenues, different possibilities. I mean, could you maybe tell us, without revealing too much, but some of the future plans, or something, what direction this is going to go in terms of product development, etc.?
Yeah, we have a few things on the horizons. The thing that's taking most of my time right now is we got a request from a company in Israel that's making weapons for the army, and they want us to develop a drop for weapon for guns. So you can adjust the length of the strap without taking the gun off, and it has to do a lot with, of course, comfort, but also secure the weapon to the soldier. So it's not. And right now I'm learning a new market and a new standard, which is
That's fascinating. Yeah, no, I honestly wasn't expecting that. That's like a completely different, we're moving from guitars to weapons. But that's really interesting, because I guess it's kind of what we were saying. It opens up a whole world once you got something that works and that you work so hard to get right, it's, it opens up different avenues, whether it's, different markets or even just personalization or colors or stuff like that. It's really interesting for me. I always thought that the really interesting and kind of groundbreaking ideas for me are extremely simple to start off with. They're really extremely simple, but then the construction and the manufacturing, that's super complicated. But the actual concept on paper is really simple. And, it's coming up with a simple idea like this is, I think, the hardest thing to do, because you can overly, make something overly complex, but this is simple, it solves a problem. And I think, strangely enough, no one has done it or has thought about it. and it's fantastic. And it's really, really interesting how something so simple could then take almost a life of its own and build, in different avenues. And that's, I think, the hardest kind of initial kind of idea stage, I think, is the hardest thing to get right. And often, I think that's where...
You just reminded me of I think it was the 2018 Now show. I went there with a sample, the prototype. It was super ugly and super not professional. I wanted to get some feedbacks before I'm going into the journey, and I met with one of the engineers who is the product manager in a very big guitar company. And we met with a series of them, but when I took the drop out and I put it on the guitar that I brought with me, and I showed him one time the function, his jaw like dropped, and he was like, I can't believe we didn't think of that. It was...
Exactly.
Yeah, he gave me the push I needed to go into the market with that sentence. It gave us all the wind that we needed.
Exactly. And then, and also, I guess it's important, and I saw one of your posts, I think, recently on Instagram. It's important for people to remember that it's, I guess, universal with every strap that you can buy, the major brands, but also, every system that they have, whether it's, the Dario, whatever it is.
Every strap lock, every guitar, it's within everything, yeah.
Guitar, bass, whatever, it just works. The concept is for it to work properly with all these systems. So I think that's really, that's how universal it is. I think that's one of the biggest advantages, because ultimately, I think whether it's, Richard Fortus or someone at home, I think guitarists and bassists ultimately are very simple people. We want things to work well, be convenient, and not cause trouble. So if you need to start changing and adapting things, it's not going to work. So this is, I think, perfect in the sense
I think the question that I get asked the most is, what if the button presses when I'm not meaning to press it? Okay, if I'm like leaning on something, and people don't realize how many hours I've spent to learn springs. When you press the button, it doesn't move. It just opens the mechanism, and the guitar stays in the same exact spot and waiting for you to drive it up or down to the desired.
Exactly.
People think that when you press the button, it's going to fall down.
It goes,
It doesn't move.
No, exactly, and that again shows testament, I think, to the planning that went into it and the hours that you put, and that it's really fantastic. So I think from my side, exactly, and the amount of work. I think from my side, it's really, again, just to summarize, I'm really happy that we got a chance to talk, and I hope this has been really inspiring, because for the people watching and listening, because this will go out also as a podcast, and I think it's really in some ways, I think that guitar world is very traditional. So I think it's kind of very reluctant to move in different areas and kind of be free of thinking about innovation. And this for me is another of those products that is really inspiring, because it shows that it's not because people didn't, because it doesn't exist, that it shouldn't be done. Because, there was no reason for this not to exist, and you did it. You had the fantastic idea, and it works, and it solves the problem. And let's remind people, you're not spending, $200 on this. This is, for the quality, I think is incredibly priced, very good price. And it's something that, even if you don't use it at home, but you play a gig every so often, have it at home. It's perfect. Or if you have a strap that you like, but maybe for whatever reason it's too short, you can even use it just to extend your strap. And it has, I think it's one of those things that is a fantastic thing to have in your house. And when you need it, you put it on and you're free. So really, really, really happy to talk to you and to have such I think it's an eye opener for me to kind of see how much work and how much kind of dedication you had to put into it, because it's not, things never come easy. And when you see these, kind of success stories, I think the most important thing to realize is that people put in a lot of hours and a lot of passion, because otherwise it's not going to work.
I think it's a lot of hours, a lot of passion, and hanging on during those moments when you think, I'm in the wrong way. It's very hard to not give up when things don't go the right way.
Fantastic.
That's where usually it falls off.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And I think we can all see that even in, whether it's personal life, work life, whatever it is, those are the moments I think that are the hardest ones to keep going. But I guess fundamentally, if you have inside that passion and that, I think you need to trust your product in this case, and that it's a good product, and that will always keep you going. So I think it's really important, if guys want to head over to your website, I think it's www.dropstrap.com.
Exactly.
And as you said, there's the section, I believe, where they can put a special request if they want anything. But I would highly urge people to even just go on the website and have a look, or on social media. Have a look. You have some really cool videos and example videos of people actually using it. And I think it's something that is worthwhile, even if you're a bit, skeptical or want to know more. Just dive into it and see, because I think you'll be surprised how.
Whenever musicians talk to me on Instagram, which I manage myself because I really want to hear musicians. Whenever people tell me, I'm not sure if it's for me, if it's not for me, I think I'm always saying, we'll give you your money back. It's all good. It's not about money. It's not about that. I wanted to really try it. Up until now, we sold a lot of units and no one ever sent it back. So if anybody is skeptical, try it. We'll give you your money back if it's not for you. So
exactly. Or just, talk to John on, as you said, he's manning the Instagram, so he's on it all the time, and or I guess get in contact through the website and ask any questions, because I think that's, often I think some people may have some preconceived ideas, and just ask some questions, and you'll see, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised. So that's fantastic. John, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. I know you're super busy. You have really great upcoming plans. And are you doing, final thing, are you doing any shows or exhibitions around the world or Europe?
We're thinking of the next NAMM.
Okay.
It's not finalized yet, but I believe we'll get there.
Oh, fantastic. So that's some great place to maybe get a lot of a lot of people interested. Although, you know, I've been to a couple years ago, and to be honest, well, it used to be crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, you know this because you've been to. It's like, oh my god, it's overwhelmingly crazy. I mean, it's yeah. I don't know, as someone who, as an exhibitor, it must be the most tiring thing to do, I think, in the world, because you have constant people coming up to you and talking to you, and it's like too much.
No, me and Rachel from Fretlook talked about it like a year ago, and we thought, you know, we can get a small booth in the show, but everybody looking at Ibanez and Gibson and Fender, and it's so huge that no one's gonna see us. So we thought, instead of getting a booth, we'll do like a crazy after-hour party celebrating drop. So yeah, we were planning a lot of ideas. Let's see which of them is going to happen.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Or maybe do some like guerrilla tactics and go in there and just give out. I'm sure not everyone would like that, but no, fantastic. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it. And as I said, people get in contact with John. Check out the website because it's definitely worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speak to you soon. Thank you.